double hey, San Francisco Bay, Monterey. My name's Alexandrew.
And I'm Dr. Shasta Tierra.
And we're here with your healthy living show that we do every week here at the KIYS studios in Campbell. Well, it's really San Jose, but it's Campbell.
Yeah, I like Campbell.
I like Campbell, too. How you been, Dr. Shasta?
I've been good, except I had a bad permanent bridge put in.
Oh, yeah. I know you were a little bit under the weather there for a while, so I heard you're doing better, though, now, right?
I'm getting better, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have a real cool guest today, and, she's been on the show before, and she's really cool because she comes along the same lines as what you do in your practice with acupuncture, right?
Very cool. They have a medical doctor who specializes in holistic fertility, helping get people pregnant naturally with all natural modalities. Is very unique, very rare, and very exciting.
Well, especially again because it's kind of coming from a medical doctor, and we're starting to see a little bit more of that kind of Eastern and Western medicine combined. And it's really cool to see that blend with these two.
And she went to acupuncture school for a year during her medical school to study, cool. Integrated medicine. So she's very unique in that she understands both medicines and has brought them together and is helping people.
I think one of the really cool things is she's actually really good on the mic. And, as a radio show host, we love people who are good on the mic. And that works.
Yes, I think she's excellent.
Yeah, it works. And she gets a lot of good information out to the people. So stay tuned to Dr. Yao, right?
Yes.
Elisa Yao, right? Yep.
At Rehab 1.
So right around the corner, and of course, if you want to contact her after the show, we're going to have her information up just like we do here at KIYSradio.com. And it's a great way to see where all of our guests come from.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? So, well, you know what? We're going to do a little bit of news because that's what we do here at KIYS Radio.
Yeah.
That's right. A little bit of news we call the news to amuse. And we're going to have to come back after this short little break with Dr. Yao. But now it's time for News to Amuse with McKenna Ray.
Wishing everyone well out there. This is McKenna Ray with the KIYS Radio News, where we like to share stories with you that'll make you smile, laugh, and appreciate the spontaneity of life. Today we have a story for you about a British man who saved his pet tortoise, Frida, by giving her CPR. He found his tortoise lifeless at the bottom of his garden pond, swooped her out, and proceeded to give her mouth to mouth. Shortly after, his tortoise was coughing up a bit of water and began twitching. So for the next hour, he held a blow dryer over her and proceeded to massage her. In doing so, he was able to nurse his lovely turtle back to health and claims that she was eating just fine the rest of the day, so clearly there must have been no brain damage. There was a couple in New Jersey whose engagement ring went missing for 9 years. In 2008, they went to their vacation home in Italy, where the engagement ring disappeared, to which they decided they would have no luck with it. This summer, they returned back to their vacation home, and the husband noticed a glimmer in the sidewalk across the street. When they went to go check it out, lo and behold, 9 years later, that engagement ring was right there in the cracks. In Florida, there was a man fishing off of a pier when a drunken woman around the age of 22 swam by in her birthday suit, noticed the hook, and decided to take the bait. She swam off with the line, and when officers confronted her later, she reacted belligerently and started shouting when she realized that she was naked. They charged her with disorderly intoxication in public, and that's the end of that story. This is McKenna Ray, and we'll be back next week with more fun news for you.
Hey, San Francisco Bay, Monterey. Wherever you are today, my name is Alexandrew, author of Perceptive Power with AAA Neutral. Check it out at aaaneutral.com. Today on Office Talk, I wanted to chat briefly about how to have successful kids. How do you shape and form kids into being a success in their life? I have 2 older daughters, and I have 2 other children right now that I'm raising at age 13 and 10. My oldest is 26, and her sister is 22. They're both entrepreneurs. They both have their own businesses. They love what they do. They're doing exactly what they want to do, and they're making good money at it. Now, they aren't exactly multimillionaires, but I tell you what, they really enjoy working for themselves. They're probably going to be like me and be unemployable, which is one of the spoiling aspects of being an entrepreneur. But I think what we did raising our children has a lot to do with some of this information that I picked up from businessinsider.com, and they have some science that talks about successful kids and what to do as a parent, and what 13 things that the parents that have successful children have in common. Parents make their kids do chores. Parents teach their kids social skills. Parents have high expectations for their children. Parents have healthy relationships with each other. Parents have attained higher educational levels, or at least became entrepreneurs of their own business. Parents teach their kids math early on. Parents, they develop a relationship with their kids. Parents, they're less stressed. Parents, they value effort over avoiding failure, which we now call a learning experience. Parents, the moms do work and don't just necessarily take on the role of being a housewife. And parents, they teach grit to their children to help make them more successful. We all love our kids. We all want to see them be successful. So we got to figure out a pattern in our lives as we're raising them to help create that. Thanks again for joining me on Office Talk. My name's Alexandrew. Have a great day. Love you all. Bye-bye.
I do traditional Chinese medicine, and that includes 5 different branches: acupuncture, massage, yoga, tai chi, qigong, herbal medicine, and nutrition. It is amazing in helping the body heal itself, that it releases the body's natural endorphins, serotonin, and seems to rebalance the hormones of the body.
Lower back pain was taken care of very quickly. 6 treatments and I was pain-free. And this was like 3 years ago, and I've remained pain-free.
I've grown up in the Bay Area, and I have had my own practice for over 15 years. When I was 12, I decided I want to be an acupuncturist, and by the time I was 25, I was licensed.
I have thyroid condition and stress, big time. When I walk out, I'm feeling like a whole different person. It's definitely a blessing to be able to come here.
I love helping women have babies, and the day that they actually get pregnant, the look in their eye is like, it's the best thing ever.
I've been struggling trying to get pregnant for the past 3 or 4 years. I came to Shasta. I would totally recommend her to anyone out there that is trying to get pregnant. She will do great for you.
Way of wellness has to do with living a life that keeps us well.
Hi there, this is Alexandrew with It's All About the Show. You know, I've been with Money Concepts since 1994, and they have been the primary catalyst for my success as a financial advisor. If you're looking for a career change and you want to help people for a living, check out moneyconcepts.com/ALEE or call 946-8378 today. Hey, double hey, San Francisco Bay, Monterey. My name's Alexandrew.
And I'm Dr. Shasta Tierra.
We're here with your Healthy Living Show. And today we got a great guest. Her name is Dr. Yao, and she does some similar stuff to you, only in a little bit different way, right, with your acupuncture practice.
We have very similar specialties, pain management and treating people for fertility naturally.
This is going to be cool because, believe me, there's going to be a lot of great information because we've had her on the show before, and she's a great guest. She's practiced in Los Gatos and studied the molecular cell biology at UC Berkeley. She graduated with 5 Beta Kappa honors, and she did her medical training at the UC Davis School of Medicine. She's board certified, and she's in rehabilitation as well as integrative medicine.
And she's a mom.
Yes, she is. And this part, you struggled with infertility, and I think that's why you have such a passion about helping others overcome their infertility using natural, non-invasive, and non-integrative ways to get the information from being a doc. That's really cool.
Can you tell us a little bit about your struggles with infertility?
Sure, yeah. When I was in my early 30s, I thought it was time to start a family. Initially, I wasn't all that serious, but as my friends started to have their first babies and then their second babies, I started to get anxious. And I got to a point where I couldn't even go to any more of my friends' baby showers because they just painfully reminded me of my own failures.
I've heard that from a lot of moms who want to get pregnant, that they get very depressed, very emotional, and hopeless, and there actually is a high incidence of depression among people who can't conceive. So I think that's a very good point that you're bringing that up.
Yeah. Well, I was also surprised that my MD background didn't help me better to achieve fertility in the beginning. And in fact, I think in some ways it hindered it. So for instance, it took me a really long time to realize that I have polycystic ovarian syndrome, PCOS. And that was because back in medical school, the textbook description of PCOS was someone who is quite overweight and who has a lot of body hair. And I didn't really feel like I fit that description. But
I would say not.
Yes, you don't.
Just
I
say
agree
it.
with that.
Okay. So little did I know that women with PCOS actually come in all shapes and sizes. So in fact, later I did more research and found out that PCOS women of Asian descent tend to have lower body mass index and they don't really have much excess body hair.
Right.
So in any case, I eventually got help, a little late though, help from my OBs and my reproductive endocrinologist, and they did some workup. So they did my day 3 hormones, they looked good. I had my anatomy checked out, those were good, and they recommended me to start taking fertility medications. So in my case, they recommended me to take Femora. Now, Femora is a better tolerated cousin of Clomid, but it is a medication that stimulate ovulation. I took this medication for 3 cycles, but what I didn't realize at the time was that while this medication can stimulate ovulation, it doesn't actually improve the underlying egg quality. So after taking this for 3 cycles, I didn't achieve pregnancy, but I unfortunately developed a uterine polyp, which was not seen on the previous 10 ultrasounds that was done at the same fertility clinic. So in any case, I think in the end, what really helped me was that I discovered functional medicine, which is all about helping people finding and treating the root causes of their health problems. And I realized that I had PCOS, and I looked for the aggravating factors of PCOS, and I addressed them.
So what would you say those main aggravating factors are?
Yeah, good question. So those are insulin resistance, elevated androgens, inflammation, stress, thyroid issues, and mitochondrial dysfunction. So actually in my clinic, I do lab testing to assess the severity of these issues, and I make personalized recommendations based on the test results.
Do you recommend supplements, nutrition, herbs, other CAM therapies, complementary and alternative medicine therapies? What would a typical treatment protocol that you would create for someone with PCOS look like?
Right. So it's definitely that whole approach you mentioned. So everything from diet and supplements that can help improve egg quality, acupuncture, Chinese herbs, but even lifestyle changes, making sure people sleep better, people have better stress management.
Yeah. So cognitive behavioral therapy suggestions, which is wonderful. that a medical doctor is doing that. What else could you tell us about PCOS and related to infertility?
Yeah, so I think a lot of people don't realize that polycystic ovarian syndrome is actually the #1 cause of female infertility, and it's actually very common. So 1 in 10 women has PCOS. So what is it? So it is a common hormonal disorder, so that hormones are out of balance, in particularly with testosterone and insulin. And the way you diagnose it is actually by fulfilling what's called the Rotterdam criteria. So you need to have 2 out of the 3 elements. And 3 elements are #1, having either absent or prolonged irregular periods. They're generally on the longer side, more than 35 days. #2, having either clinical evidence or laboratory evidence of elevated androgens. So these are basically hormones that either stimulate or regulate the maintenance or development of male characteristics. So that could be in terms of the clinical signs, having acne, having hair on the chin or below the navel for women, which is a little bit unusual. And then the third thing is to have ultrasound evidence of polycystic ovaries. Now, you also asked, how is PCOS related to infertility? And this is another thing that most patients and even doctors don't realize, and that is basically because of the hormonal imbalance you have in PCOS, the eggs in the ovary do not get to mature properly. And so that results in decreased egg quality. On top of that...
And immature eggs, too.
Exactly.
Yes.
And so on top of that, women with PCOS have impaired ovulation or sometimes absent ovulation altogether. So certainly the combination of those two negatively impacts fertility.
Yeah. And just... what I've read is that in human nature, when it's not favorable in a woman to conceive, the body doesn't conceive. And when the body is in a stress state where the hormones are imbalanced and the eggs are not fully maturing, the body is not going to conceive.
But a common thing, too, in today's society is the stresses.
And there's internal and external stresses.
Does cortisol have anything to do with that?
Yes,
I think
very
that's
much
part of
so.
that stress hormone.
Stress hormone.
Yeah, cortisol is a stress hormone. So, when people are so stressed, basically our body wants to survive. So it shuts down that reproductive system.
Correct.
Huh.
Yes. So when you recommend the food that burns slower, people are going to have less stress hormone and less cortisol spikes and blood sugar spikes because their food is going to sustain them longer. And that's one way that what she does and I do works, along with the supplements and herbs, create a stronger, thicker, higher nutrition to our blood so that we don't have these spikes and ups and downs in the endocrine hormones.
You're talking about the whole thing again. I mean, that holistic aspect with a W.
That's right.
I think that's really cool because coming from a family of MDs and you being an MD, having that other avenue besides science is just really cool and creating a great environment.
And Dr. Yao has said that she does any number of exams and tests, including stool sample, blood tests. Would you like to tell us some more? Where she does a very comprehensive approach.
You mentioned a few already, but also urine testing. But I base all my testing based on the patient's symptoms. So it's all a very customized, personalized approach.
That's really cool.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much.
We're going to be right back with some more with Dr. Yao right after this commercial break. So stay tuned to KIYS Radio. Have you considered a career change lately? Have you ever thought about helping people for a living? At Money Concepts International, we've been helping people do better with their finances since 1979. We've helped thousands of financial advisors throughout the world create and develop their own financial planning practices. Imagine being able to help your friends, your family, and complete strangers with doing better with their finances, sending their kids to college, being able to retire comfortably. If you've considered changing your career, talk to Charles Ham or myself at 408-946-8255. 8378. That's 408-946-8378. And attend one of our fabulous financial planning schools. Again, 408-946-8378. And have a career that helps people have better lives.
At Way of Wellness, we help to rebalance the hormones of your body so that it can heal itself. Way of Wellness offers acupuncture, Chinese medicine, functional nutrition, Chi yoga, and wellness coaching. Call 408-615-1995 and start living the life that keeps us well.
Double hey, San Francisco Bay, Monterey. Here with your Healthy Living Show with me, Alexandrew and
Dr. Shasta Tierra.
And we're talking with a doctor today. 2 doctors, I guess, we have in the house. I feel a little inferior, but that's okay. I come from a family of doctors, so that's okay. And Dr. Yao, who is a fertility specialist, which is one of the things you do, right, Dr. Shasta?
That's right.
Recall? And we're just going to be talking a little bit about, was it PCOS that we were talking about?
That's right.
So we're going to talk a little bit more about that, and I'm just going to let you guys chat about it and ask each other questions, and when somebody like me has a question, I'll probably chime in.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Dr. Yao, first of all, I just want to acknowledge you as a Western doctor using natural medicine and natural ways to help get people pregnant. It's just so uncommon that someone would do that and that people can come to you for that. And I want to acknowledge you for that. Secondly, I want to know what misconceptions people may have regarding infertility and polycystic ovarian syndrome.
Great question. I think oftentimes women are told that they cannot get pregnant naturally if they have PCOS, and that is absolutely not true. Like I said, I feel like I'm a living testimony to that. Now, I'm not saying it's easy. There's definitely challenges along the way, but if you address those aggravating underlying factors we talked about earlier, it's certainly possible to get pregnant naturally.
And you had discussed before about the quality of the egg.
Yes.
And that the assisted reproductive therapies don't address the quality of the egg, but what you do does.
Yeah, thank you for asking about that. So you're right. The common assistive reproductive technology procedures include IUI and IVF. And intrauterine insemination, IUI, doesn't do anything to help improve ovulation, or it doesn't do anything to improve egg quality. So the success rate of this procedure is actually quite abysmal, in my opinion, at least. So for instance, if you are a woman who is around age 35, the success rate or pregnancy rate of this procedure is only 12% per cycle, so that's pretty low. And with IVF, they also don't address egg quality. And so statistically speaking, if I could say the word, women around age 35, their success rate in terms of having a live birth is only 40% for any one cycle. And whereas for women who are 41 to 42 years old, that number drops all the way down to 12%. So I think my approach comes from a different method, which is trying to optimize egg quality so that the couples can get pregnant naturally.
Yes. And I have told this to you before, but my teacher, Dr. Miriam Lee, who was a fertility specialist and the grandmother of acupuncture in California, used to say that it would take up to 9 months to build a woman's egg and chi. And the chi is the energy of the body and the batteries of the cells working right, and basically the endocrine hormones working right. And she would say in the first 3 months of doing the natural methods, you may not see a difference, but by 6 to 9 months, you see a dramatic difference. And whenever I work with people for fertility, I work with them for 3 to 9 months to build the quality of what we call the blood and the chi, or the energy. But it is building the quality of their eggs and their uterine lining and getting the hormones to work properly, similarly to you. So I totally agree with you on that. And I think people need to be patient. Like you said, it's not always easy. And the sugar cravings can be very high. And sugar is one of the main causes of polycystic ovarian syndrome. So it takes a little while for the sugar addiction to be put in check. And I'm glad you mentioned that. So what are any parting recommendations you might have?
Yeah, so my number one recommendation for people is to seek professional help early. I really wish I had done that. Perhaps it's because I'm an MD. I just thought, oh, this is just going to happen. But I didn't realize early on that I wasn't even ovulating most of my cycles. And had I worked with a specialist who really understood women's menstrual cycles, that would have picked up a lot sooner. So seek help early.
That's very good. And so how can people find you so that they can work with you?
So I work at Rehab One Medical Group in Los Gatos, California, and I take actually most PPOs. So that's actually a rarity among
that's cool. That's
that is
really
extremely
cool.
rare,
integrative and functional medicine doctors.
Very much so. That's great. And what is your website?
www.elisayaomd.com.
Wonderful.
And
Great to have you.
You have quite a bit of information on your site that will help guide people through this whole process.
Right. They can actually sign up for my blog, my monthly Wholistic Fertility blog. And by doing so through my website, they can actually get my complimentary top 10 tips for getting pregnant naturally.
All right. Well, we're going to post your phone number so people can get a hold of you here. We're out of time today. Thanks for joining KIYS Radio and Your Healthy Living.